Greetings, everyone. Today, we dive into The Grand Duke's Bride is a Hellborn Warrior. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means the world. Let's begin. Beneath a burning sun, a girl collapses on the parched earth. Sweat evaporates the moment it hits the blistering sand. She grips a strange relic, her gaze locked in disbelief. A truly ominous beginning. This is Alicia Sirius Lane, the first daughter of House Lane Maris in 200 years. To the world, she's a cherished, fragile flower, shielded from everything. But behind this facade is a shy girl with a crippling stutter, concealed from sight. Of course, the treasured daughter, secretly drowning in misery. A classic recipe for tragedy. As an illegitimate child, Alicia is endured merely for her strategic value. At 17, her use is finally revealed. She is commanded to marry. Beneath the radiant sun, she meets Gregory Barker, a northern lord. With smiling families and a new alliance, her future seems bright. Until his shameless affair ignites an imperial scandal. A duel, a broken betrothal, and Gregory is left permanently crippled. But the Barkers drag her through an 8-year legal battle. When it ends, she's 25, branded as a woman cast aside. 8 years of struggle, only to be deemed worthless. Brutal. Her father summons her, his face a cold mask. Her new fiancé is Grand Duke Liard Tessanen, Guardian of the West, the Emperor's half-brother and ruler of a land known for both gold and death. He's also rumored to have murdered his 6 prior wives. Great choice, father. Sounds perfectly safe. Terrified, Alicia begs in silence. Panic consumes her thoughts. Not this fate, not this death, anything but this. But her father's icy gaze crushes her defiance. She can only retreat in defeat. That night, a torrent mirrors her despair. The next day, her maid pleads with her to refuse the marriage. But Alicia knows her fate is sealed. Inside the Duke's gift is a shimmering artifact. It's not a pendant, it's a timepiece. In an instant, reality splinters. Colors bleed and the world shatters. Alicia lands on cold, strange earth, dazed and breathless. A horrific beast looms above, fangs bared and eyes glowing ominously. Instead of a scream, a broken laugh escapes her lips, a mix of shock and madness. It's as if the universe is playing a cruel joke. On January 1st, year 350, Alicia's new life doesn't begin. Her descent into hell begins. If this isn't a dream, it's a waking nightmare. Let's see what horrors await on the next level. Alicia awakens in a dark cave, surrounded by predators. She conceals herself behind a boulder, a massive beast sleeping just paces away. With a pounding heart, she watches, seeking any chance of escape. She recalls the day it all began. January 1st, year 350. Since that day, death became an endless cycle. Wounds that took weeks to mend now close overnight. Even severed flesh regenerates flawlessly. At first, she pleaded with the beasts for mercy. Then, she raged against her cruel fate. Finally, she found the will to run. With frantic self-encouragement, she sprints for a sliver of hope. Her lungs burn, her muscles ache, but the monsters always catch her. Talons tear her apart, dragging her to a gory end. The cycle resets, with a young beast feasting as her bones join the forgotten pile. Now that's what I call a terrible respawn point. No rage quitting this game. Alicia awakens once more to the grim reality, but each death sharpens her mind. If she is immortal, and they are not, then perhaps she can be the one to deal the final blow. She observes their every move, their fatal flaws. To live, she must become the hunter. Now, that's the evolution we've been waiting for. She crafts weapons from shards of bone. Her body heals, but theirs do not. The hunt begins, a brutal dance of survival. One by one, the monsters are felled by her hand. The cave grows eerily quiet, the air heavy with silence. Searching a crevice for the relic that began her nightmare, she finds the watch. January 19th, year 350. A cruel tally, 20 days of endless death. Rage fuels her actions. She kicks the carcass, revealing a gleaming golden gem. She picks it up, baffled, but feeling a spark of triumph. Clutching the gem, her resolve crystallizes into a new goal. Well done, Alicia. You've cleared the tutorial. Now, who's the final boss? Alicia examines the golden gem in her palm. Its glow feels out of place in this crimson, hellish landscape. A simple treasure or a cursed artifact? It's hard to say in a world like this. Meanwhile, back in the Empire, a servant reports to the Duke about the Maris family. Their daughter has vanished. The Duke, utterly indifferent, remarks that it makes no difference if she's gone, dead, or fleeing her destiny. Guess royal compassion is in short supply. We jump to hell. 8 years have passed, and Alicia Sirius Lane is a changed woman. spear in hand, standing on a mountain of monster corpses. She's a veritable war goddess. Others came to hell to suffer. Alicia turned it into her hunting ground. As she collects her spoils from a slain beast, a cat-like boy ambushes her. But Alicia reacts instantly, cornering him. She chides him for touching her kill. The boy panics, pleading for his life before this terrifying warrior. Alicia pauses. A creature that can speak? She decides to spare him. Where are we? He answers, West Alec, a real place. Her mind reels. This nightmare is real. Recalling what she'd read of hell, she realizes her knowledge is dangerously thin. She presents the glowing gems. What are these? The boy's jaw hits the floor. It's a mana stone, a potent and rare energy source. When she nonchalantly offers it, he is utterly stunned. For more answers, he explains that mana stones come from demons. They wage war for mana to gain power. The strongest are the 4 great demon lords: Noah of the east, Alec of the west, Fez of the south, and Ka of the north. Alicia carved a path through wastelands of fire, slaying beasts until she faced the throne of West Alex's ruler, a demon with chilling black teeth. She wasted no time, launching her spear at the throne. Diplomacy was a forgotten word, but as her prize was claimed, the world twisted violently. Alicia jolted awake, back in her own room. A glance in the mirror revealed a younger face. Since when did Hell offer a free glow-up? It was her, but years had vanished. Either Hell had a new skincare line, or this was terrifying. Her frail limbs confirmed the truth. Her body was weak. All the power she'd forged in Hellfire was gone. A knock shattered her panic. It was Daisy, her maid, greeting her with a cheerful smile. Daisy said she was 22. The words struck Alicia like a blow. 17. She was 17 again. She hadn't just grown younger. She was thrown back to the very day her life began to crumble. The weight of it all crushed her, and Alicia fell. For days, she recovered while her mother fussed over her. The Marchioness was radiant and kind, a memory Alicia held dear. Memories flooded back to the day her mother found her, marching into the forbidden South Wing. A scandal was expected, but the Marchioness simply knelt, gently claiming the little Alicia as her own. Still, servants' whispers poisoned her heart. She was raised to believe nothing she had was truly hers. Even knowing her mother's sincerity, she always felt unworthy of that love. Now, the Marchioness offered her water. Alicia found her voice, calling her mother. The woman's face lit up, unaware this was the first time Alicia had said it without fear. Daisy watched from afar and felt a chill. Alicia's shy demeanor, her stutter, had vanished completely. It was as if she'd returned from the grave. If only she knew the truth. But Alicia's mind was already sharp. This was her second chance. She remembered Gregory Barker, the engagement that destroyed her. If she moved now, she could rewrite her fate. She confided in her mother, and the Marchioness agreed. She would shield Alicia from that marriage, even if it meant defying the Marquis. Soon, a commotion filled the mansion. Alicia stormed into her father's study, her eyes blazing with fire. She demanded he free her mother immediately. From a meek child to a warrior, Hell had been a harsh teacher. The Marquis warned her to watch her words, saying the walls have ears. But Alicia's fury could not be contained. She demanded her mother's release. This wasn't rest. It was a punishment for daring to oppose the engagement for her. Her father remained calm, caring only for appearances. Alicia mocked his obsession, hinting that reputation means nothing if a Marquis' daughter commits murder. His composure finally broke. A sharp slap echoed, but Alicia didn't flinch. She simply glared back, rage burning where fear used to live. His little lamb had grown fangs. The Marquis stared in disbelief. The trembling girl he knew was gone. Was this mere rebellion? A tantrum? But her eyes, hardened by the horrors of Hell, told a different story. He dismissed her, ordering her to repent. Later, Alicia met her second brother, Harry, who laughed openly at her punishment. She brushed it off, feeling free from the main house. When Harry mentioned their mother, her mood fell, but his worry was clear. She teased him, touched by his genuine care. In her past life, she thought everyone hated her timid nature. Now, warmth filled that regret. Perhaps this second life wasn't a punishment. Alicia grew serious as Harry revealed her engagement only needed the Emperor's final approval. She recalled her debut, his cruel laughter, her ruin. Her villain origin story was getting a sequel. Harry offered to teach him a lesson, but Alicia smiled. She gave him a letter, asking him to deliver it secretly to Grand Duke Tessin. At his estate, the notorious Duke studied the bold letter with interest. His aides were nervous, but he just smirked and ordered a meeting. It seemed the monster of Tessin had just taken the bait. Alicia and Daisy traveled to the Delore Grand Temple in a carriage from the Marchioness. The ride was smooth. until Alicia's vision blurred and darkness closed in. Was she really fainting from a bumpy ride? Girl, you need more iron. Snapping back to focus, she frowned. The air was thick with tension. An ambush. Daisy offered to check outside. But before Alicia could react, a dart shot through the door, striking the maid's neck. Panic surged, but Daisy was only unconscious. Alicia inspected the dart. Its scent, cinnamon and cypress, was a poison that shouldn't exist yet. A voice confirmed her suspicions. A cold, dangerous man appeared. His men claimed Daisy was safe, but insisted on taking Alicia for her own protection. Before Alicia could protest, the man fixed his piercing gaze on her. So this was Duke Tessin, the feared monster of rumor. Why was he so handsome? He greeted her smoothly, his eyes narrowing, disbelieving this small woman sent that letter. He explained the 7 rocks of Dolor were a sundial that only humans could enter. The Duke stepped through unharmed. Alicia smirked that he must be human, earning an offended glance. She followed. No lightning struck, confirming she too was human. As the Duke watched her, she confessed to sending the letter. He acknowledged it, and then she did something insane. Alicia dropped to one knee before him, a hand over her heart. Her eyes burned with fierce resolve as she asked him to marry her. The Duke could only stare, his jaw hanging open, utterly convinced this woman was completely mad. And so, Duke Tessin meets his destiny in the form of chaos. Alicia kneels, her voice steady as she asks for his hand in marriage. The Duke is stunned, then scoffs at her audacity. Calling it nonsense, he turns to leave, rejected in under 10 seconds. A new record, perhaps. But Alicia isn't one to back down. She pursues him, demanding he listen, even hinting at his secret imperial marriage plans. He shuts her down, utterly uninterested. But then, reality warps. The air twists, and the Duke stumbles, his face ashen. Alarmed, Alicia moves to help, but he barks at her to stay back. Yet as he falters, she ignores his command, grabbing his hand to steady him. The ringing in his ears vanishes. The Duke is shocked. Did she just nullify the curse? Confused yet composed, he grips her hand, ordering her to stay close. She stumbles right into his chest, completely by accident. Moments later, they're seated, hands still locked. A true romance speedrun. He refuses to let go, vowing they'll stay this way until she's done. Alicia gets straight to the point. She repeats her offer. Marriage, in exchange for 4 predictions a year. The Duke scoffs, but she reminds him her last vision brought him here. That silences his doubts. He asks who must be eliminated. Her answer is cold and direct. Gregory Barker. The Duke considers her deadly request. Betraying the Barkers is risky, but she could be the key to his curse. He agrees to an engagement, promising her the title of Grand Duchess. Not a bad day's work. Alicia accepts, warning him of her greedy nature. The Duke smirks, vowing to keep that in mind. Days later, the capital is consumed by gossip. The great Duke Tessin is engaged to an unknown commoner, Alicia Lane. Rumors fly of lavish gifts. A castle, a golden villa, prized land. Meanwhile, Alicia is in her room, pushing her body to its limit. There's no power like having magic stones. Just then, Harry bursts in. He holds a newspaper, his eyes wide at the future Duchess's headline. How can she possibly explain this? Harry storms in, waving the paper like a weapon, demanding answers from his sister. Alicia tilts her head, amused. The headlines are all about the Duke, not her. As if she isn't the fiancé in this story. Where's her moment? She admits to lying about the temple visit, focusing on a mining article, infuriating Harry even more. Before his lecture continues, a servant arrives with a horse. Yes, a horse. Harry nearly faints, but Alicia's eyes light up. She mounts the beast with practiced ease. She claims she learned how, conveniently leaving out that her teacher was hell itself. Harry, still reeling, is called away. He warns her to behave. But for Alicia, the game has already begun. Alone, she secretly pushes her body's limits. Without magic stones, her power is pathetic. She manages to scale a tree, but her weakened body gives out, and she falls. Lying on the ground, she hears footsteps. It is Duke Tessin, here for the confirmation ceremony. Startled, Alicia blushes as he offers a hand, but her eyes lock onto the glowing gem on his cuff. It is unmistakable, a magic stone. She stammers an excuse about exercising. The Duke jests her training could inspire his soldiers, though it's unladylike. If only he knew she's fighting for her life. He gently removes a leaf from her hair, and her world focuses on that glowing gem. She moves toward him, he steps away, and in an instant, they both fall to the ground. Completely mesmerized, Alicia grabs his hand. Her eyes are fixed on the stone as she asks for his button. The Duke's face flushes, misunderstanding completely. Forget the button. At this proximity, the very air crackles. Her innocent plea for his button nearly stops the Duke's heart. It's not sentimentality, it's her position on top of him. Flustered, the Duke looks away, asking her to move. Alicia scrambles off, mortified. Clearing his throat, the Duke promises a similar gem. This one, a family heirloom he cannot part with. To Alicia, it's as if he'd promised her the moon. As they walk, she decides to repay him early with a new prophecy. She warns of a fierce blizzard in late March, not snow. The Duke immediately sees the threat and begins planning countermeasures. Alicia happily declares this prediction is on the house. Convinced by her certainty, the Duke thanks her. It seems she's not just changing the air between them, but the very weather. Upon arrival, servants await with a special item. The Duke dismisses them all, focused only on giving Alicia what he'd brought. He opens a chest, revealing Duchess Marguerite's ruby heirlooms, a set traditionally meant for the Countess of Avaria. Alicia accepts them with gravity. The Duke teases her serious expression. But when you're crowned in jewels, seriousness is fitting. They speak of the imperial family, and her knowledge impresses him. He also warns her to keep her exercise routine a secret. After their goodbyes, he leans in close, whispering one last secret. Maris Lane has angered the Emperor and will not be returning soon. He rides away, leaving Alicia to wonder, perhaps he isn't so bad after all. And then come the gossiping servants. Her servants bombard her with questions. Alicia silences them all, focusing on Daisy, who clutches the precious jewels. With a determined smile, she calls for her horse. Her greatest obstacle is now trapped in the capital. It is finally time to act. Things are heating up. What new storm is on the horizon? Everyone is stunned by their father's uncharacteristic lack of composure. Slamming the door open, he shouts her name. He rushes to her room, but to his horror, Alicia is gone. Everyone watches as their father's composure shatters. His wife reveals Alicia has left for Asia, deepening the mystery. In private, her mother explains everything. With a title and land, Alicia left to see her new domain. He demands to know why she wasn't stopped. With a calm smile, she says she was forbidden to see her. He can't believe his warning was ignored. Is he truly losing control? He seems deeply shaken by this. He's like a different person now. After 17 years, Alicia finally called her, requesting one thing: a delay so she could escape the estate safely. His wife tells him to stop using their children as tools, but noble birth demands a duty to the family. He orders men to Asia to drag Alicia back home. In return, once Alicia is back, his wife gains full access to the estate's southern wing. Meanwhile, Alicia reaches her new home. She's warmly welcomed, making her heart flutter. Petunia introduces Annie, her new attendant. Alicia senses a warmth in this estate, a feeling absent from her suffocating former home. Annie opens the door to a perfect room. But Daisy questions their location. This is clearly the imperial capital. Alicia just smiles, suggesting they go shopping. This feels like the promise of a new, brighter beginning. Daisy follows Alicia to a perfumery. Just as rumored, every bottle is a work of extravagant art. She'd never imagined entering such a place before. Usually, she was confined to the library. Alicia asks to sample a scent. Suddenly, Katrina, the genius perfumer from the western continent of Vale, appears and introduces herself. Having returned from the future, Alicia knows Katrina's talent will soon shake the entire continent. Soon, the capital's social world will revolve around Katrina. Alicia must forge an alliance before that day comes. To do so, she praises how the scent changes with one's own. To her, it is a truly unique fragrance. Katrina is amazed. Alicia understands the very soul of her creation with perfect clarity. Alicia buys the perfume, wishing to sample more at her estate. As a foreigner, Katrina is just a commoner here. Alicia will launch the perfume under her name, trusting Katrina's genius. She extends an invitation, which Katrina gratefully accepts. Though she's only acting, she is so convincing. Daisy says she seems like a true capital native. Alicia smiles, pleased by the compliment. Afterward, her shopping spree continues from one shop to the next. Her final stop is an embroidery shop on the second floor. Judith, the artisan, offers a warm welcome. Alicia presents a paper with her design. As Judith sees it, she asks Daisy to step outside the room. Judith crumples the design, then suddenly lunges at Alicia, a pair of sharp scissors in her hand. But Alicia disarms her with ease. An assassin's strike is met with calm power, turning danger into an opportunity. A true master's move. This embroiderer is Judith, heir to the continent's top intelligence guild, the Croa clan. Alicia needs powerful allies, so she reveals her goal. She wants to stand with Judith as a friend. The mighty Croa clan was once led by 6 powerful house heads, along with their master. 8 years ago, 6 clan properties burned at once. Those households were the clan's leaders. It was a massacre. Yet Judith survived, rescued by a man she calls uncle. As Alicia continues to reveal her knowledge, Judith grabs a dagger, declaring the Croa clan is dead. Alicia warns that running away will never bring justice. Judith explodes with rage, screaming, "What could you possibly know about my pain?" When Alicia reveals she knows the true traitors, Judith's anger fades. She lowers her weapon and asks why. Alicia repeats her offer of friendship, insisting that helping an ally is only natural for her. She reveals a dark secret, a hidden group of 6. These shadowheads are the real betrayers of the Crow clan. Like a queen on a chessboard, Alicia drops a bombshell, revealing the truth about the true enemies. Alicia urges Judith to seize this chance to uncover the truth. She leaves, hoping Judith will lead her clan. A powerful alliance is forged between these 2 women. A new era of strength begins to dawn. Just then, her uncle's twin daughters appear. Judith reassures them, announcing her plans to go on a journey. This time, she promises not to leave her precious new friends without saying a proper goodbye. Her uncle Bran affirms his faith in her. Her decision to lead the clan is everything. They will stand by her always. The next day, during her dance lesson, Annie arrives. She bears an imperial invitation for the ennoblement ceremony. Along with the invitation, an urgent letter appears. In the palace, tensions rise. The Grand Duke, Rykart, pleads for troops on the western border. The sudden request confuses Emperor Leonhard. He argues the Duke already has sufficient forces. Rykart insists Tessin is always short on men. Starving foreign tribes will soon begin their raids on the villages. The nobles are certain to object. But trusting his brother, Leonhard gives his approval, despite knowing it will cause more problems. He also struggled for days to calm Empress Eleonora. The other noble women were relentlessly digging for information on Alicia. Regarding Alicia, Leonhard wants an official marriage by her 19th birthday. This gives them time to bond and allows her father to emotionally prepare. Rykart has no regrets giving Averia to Alicia, so Leonhard must quell the wild rumors that Rykart abducted her, axe in hand. But seriously, the chaos from these rumors is insane. They say Rykart kidnapped Alicia while holding an axe. Just picture him walking in all casual, like, "Hello, I'm here for the kidnapping." The axe is a precaution. Hilarious. Leonhard ordered him to frame it as a grand romance. But with Rykart's terrible reputation, the story was doomed to become a dark legend. As he departs, Leonhard offers a grave warning. Whispers say Rua will move once winter ends and the new year begins. The door shuts, leaving Leonhard feeling powerless over his younger brother. Just outside, Henrik sighs in relief. The reinforcement request was granted. He's glad they can spare Alicia from seeing the chaos. But Rykart questions why Henrik calls her my lady. Henrik defends her, saying she's no ordinary 17-year-old. After summer, she'll turn 18, the ideal age for marriage. But Rykart states firmly he will never marry Alicia. Just then, a figure appears behind them, seeing the Tessin emblem, and warmly greets him with a smile. A silent panic grips Rykart. Did she overhear his vow not to marry her? Alicia calls to him, breaking the silence. He forces himself to believe she heard nothing and asks about her presence in the imperial palace. She explains the emperor summoned her to see her before the title ceremony. Rykart wonders if Leonhard pressured her into this. He's always pushing the marriage on him. To shift the topic, Rykart recalls a special gem that Alicia desperately wanted for a cufflink. As luck would have it, that very crystal is at his capital residence. Alicia's eyes sparkle with sudden excitement. She could finally get her hands on it. At the Tessin estate, Rykart shows her the flawless gem. A wave of pure joy washes over Alicia. In her thoughts, she pictures consuming it, absorbing the power sealed within. Rykart then boasts of Tessin's gold-filled rivers and diamond mines. For a place called the Land of Death, it sounds like a true paradise. This only deepens Alicia's desire to visit Tessin. Rykart states that after the ceremony, he will return to Tessin alone. He won't be back in the capital until late next spring. When Alicia offers to join him, he immediately shuts her down, claiming Avaria is a better place for winter. Alicia wants to protest, but she stops herself. She realizes there's no need to hurry. Future chances to visit Tessin are guaranteed. That afternoon, she describes her planned attire. A reddish-purple dress with her hair in a single braid. Rykart notes this, ordering Henrik to prepare his Golden Knight's uniform. On the day of the ceremony, Rykart gives her one piece of advice. Walk straight to the center. Don't be nervous. Today, you are the star. The moment they enter the throne room, Alicia is hailed as an angel, but Rykart is still whispered about as the evil duke with an axe. Alicia truly shines as the star of the ceremony. She moves with the grace of a queen. Meanwhile, Reichardt can't escape his reputation as the axe-wielding villain. Seriously, give the guy a break. But Alicia ignores the whispers, holding her head high before the Emperor and Empress. Leonhardt bestows upon her the noble title Countess of Avaria with a warm smile. He welcomes her to the imperial family, congratulating his brother on finding his lifelong partner. To mark their engagement, Leonhardt presents a bridal veil, a rare gift reserved only for the imperial family's most sacred ceremonies. The meaning is unmistakable, and Reichardt feels completely trapped. He feels absolutely suffocated. The nobles buzz about how involved the imperial family is being. They not only made her Countess of Avaria, but are also declaring her the future Grand Duchess of Tessin. At that moment, Empress Eleonora intervenes. She suggests Reichardt invite Alicia to Tessin, unable to bear their long separation. You gotta love Eleonora playing matchmaker. She's turning this into a royal dating show, determined to end any long-distance drama. Leonhardt quickly seizes the moment, stirring the nobles into a supportive frenzy. Completely cornered, Reichardt has no choice but to agree. He formally invites Alicia, who joyfully accepts. Poor guy. He's just standing there, trapped in this imperial pressure cooker. Days later, Alicia is on horseback, escorted by Tessin guards under Roderick's command. As the first daughter born to a great northern house in 200 years, she's treated with extreme care and deep respect. At first, the guards see a fragile noble, one who probably can't lift her own spoon. But Alicia reveals her true strength, easily leaving them all in the dust. Suddenly, a guard shouts in a panic. They must inform the Duke at once. Lady Alicia has entered the Forbidden Forest. When they finally reach her, the guards urge her to leave. The forest is strictly off-limits. But suddenly, her horse rears in terror, sensing a nearby threat. The guards, ready for a fight, shielding Alicia until Reichardt gets there. Demonic beasts, the Kakan, surround them completely. One by one, the guards strike, but their spears are useless against the monsters. A guard's spear clatters right at her feet. Ignoring the warning, she simply smiles and picks it up. As a beast lunges from behind, a guard screams, but Alicia vaults perfectly onto the creature's nose. She tests its shell, finding it hard as bedrock. Breaking through it would require legendary strength, so she demonstrates the proper technique. Aim for the softer flesh, the eyes, the mouth, or the cracks in its armor. With the creature defeated, Alicia lands gracefully, ordering the guards to gather the black stones. A guard questions her words. Until it's done, she smiles, reminding them Kakans hunt in packs. They were outnumbered, so speed was essential. As expected from the Tessa Knights, they understood immediately and moved with expert precision. Victory seemed close, but her spear finally shatters from the strain, leaving her defenseless. At that moment, an axe flies through the air. It finishes the beast before her. Reichardt had arrived, a perfectly timed savior. Talk about a dramatic entrance. He rushes to her side, panicked, asking if she's hurt. A truly protective knight. In his frenzy, he demands to know if she's all right. She replies calmly, even asking if more monsters are nearby. This pair is legendary. The fearless heroine and her devoted knight in shining armor. Well, seeing Alicia unharmed brings Reichardt immense relief. He turns, his gaze turning to ice. He questions his knight's honor. How could they fail to protect a single person? Surprisingly, Reichardt lets their failure slide, but only in exchange for absolute silence about the day's events. Before she departs, Alicia gives one last reminder to collect the stones. Back at the villa, not the main estate, a thought strikes her. She wonders how Reichardt could be so cold. A month had passed at Tessin, and she had yet to even glimpse the Duke's face. Her days were a blur, spent meeting endless visitors who only wanted to see the Duke's famous fiancé. Among them, an assassin disguised as a guest, assuming the northern lady was a clueless, easy target. The moment he draws his weapon, Alicia strikes from behind, disarming him in a single motion. Later that night, another killer on her balcony meets a similar fate. It seems nightly visits from assassins were becoming routine. She didn't mind the fights, but a girl needs her sleep. The captured assassin finally understood why his comrades never returned. The future Grand Duchess was no noble lady, she was a monster. But tonight, his clan came prepared. A group of elite assassins gathered, convinced that this time, she would not survive. Suddenly, an unseen force strikes the assassin down, stunning Alicia. From the shadows, Judith and her companions emerge. Judith had come to deliver the finished embroidery, while her people cleaned up the would-be killers. Alicia praised Judith for her excellent work. Judith offers to handle the interrogation personally. The assassin scoffs, boasting about the size of his clan. When asked for his client, he declares they never betray a contract, but Judith had already uncovered the truth. The culprit was Baron Great, a man desperate to place his own daughter as the next Grand Duchess. Alicia praises Judith again, calling her a true master of the Krawaka clan. The assassin's blood runs cold. This was no ordinary noble girl. The next day, Reichardt asks if she dealt with the assassin. She simply replies, "Not yet." So Reichardt offers to dispatch a disposal team for her guest, but he adds that if she's in a hurry, she can end him herself. Alicia is left stunned. She never imagined he could be so casually ruthless. Reichardt warns her to expect more attacks, now that their enemies know her value. Alicia realized this was his entire life. A constant state of being watched, of being a target. To him, a threat on his fiancé's life was just another Tuesday. But it seemed her enemies still underestimated her. Her finger taps the table, cracking the wood. She made a silent vow to handle things her own way from now on. Another day, another crisis. The Emerald Tower was ablaze. Knights were dispatched to escort her to the main Tessin estate. On the road, Judith intercepts them, reporting that the attack on the palace was orchestrated by Count Combat. The Count's goal was to eliminate Alizia, making way for his own daughter to become Grand Duchess. Alizia orders an investigation into 6 key families. Henrik reports to Reichardt. Minimal damage, 0 casualties. Reichardt gives the order to hunt the arsonists down to the very end. He would make an example of them. Henrik suggests keeping Alicia within the main estate for her safety, and Reichardt agrees. Alicia is thrilled at the idea of exploring the estate, but Reichardt orders her to remain in a separate house with her attendants. And starting in 2 days, she is forbidden from entering the main building. Alicia is completely baffled by his command. Before leaving, he tells her to lock her doors at night. Such a strange warning, she thinks. That night, while working, Reichardt suddenly coughs blood, collapsing to the floor in searing pain. After a violent fit, he drives a blade into his own forearm. The wound vanishes instantly. He struggles to his feet, determined to reach his bedroom before his consciousness fades. This curse has plagued his family for generations. It has haunted the Grand Dukes of Tessin down to the 26th heir. The excruciating pain forces them to summon countless. They sought every cure, even resorting to self-harm. But all efforts were futile against this accursed bloodline. In the end, every last one of them fell to ruin. When the second moon, Rua, ascends, a tide of pure agony washes over the cursed. No potion, no elixir can quell this torment from the abyss. This is why Reichardt despises his ancestor. He often wonders if ending that man's life himself would have forged a different destiny. The late emperor, leaving no heir, thrust him into this hell. He was condemned to a life of unending suffering, a fate worse than death. A dark thought surfaces. Perhaps he should just destroy them all. But he must endure. Just 10 more days until Ruetz arrives. The next morning, a servant intercepts Alicia, explaining that the Duke is unwell and cannot see her today. Her persistent questions are met with apologies. The servant insists he only needs rest. But Alicia found this strange. How could the great Duke? Tessin ever fall ill? After all her effort, she longed to see the man called a demon, whose scarred body miraculously bore no marks. And yet, they claimed he was merely sick. The story felt hollow, and she refused to believe it. Stubbornly, Alicia presses forward until the servant yields. Seeing his state, she finally understood even a monster has moments of weakness. She recalled their first meeting. He was in pain then, too. But her touch had brought him peace. So why did he push the world away? That night, Reichardt appeared by her bed, a desperate plea in his eyes as he begged for her hand. Alicia awoke to a truly agonizing sight. He clung to her hand like a lifeline. He apologized for his actions, then pulled her into a sudden embrace, deepening her confusion. When morning came, Reichardt awoke to absolute silence. For the first time since he was 14, the endless agony was gone. As he sat up, he found his hand still grasping Alicia's. He had no memory of the previous night, nor how he even arrived in her chambers. How could this woman, Alicia Lane, soothe a pain that felt eternal? Her touch was like a divine intervention, a salvation sent by the heavens themselves. Later, Alicia woke to an empty bed. Worried, she looked for him, only to find him sitting silently in a chair nearby. She asked if he felt better, but he turned the question on her, wondering if his presence had disturbed her sleep. She sensed his discomfort, realizing he was conscious of the fact he had desperately held her hand all night. Reichardt admitted his behavior was strange, but Alicia assured him she didn't mind in the slightest. In fact, her curiosity was piqued. He agreed to share his secret, but only under a couple of strict conditions. She must never speak of this to a soul, nor could she ever treat him differently. He then spoke of the curse, a crushing force restraining his very being. No matter what he tried, he could never escape the chains of his fate. Leaving Tessin would bring disaster. just like the day they first met. But when the second moon rises, the bearable pain becomes a soul-crushing torment. Alicia's heart ached upon hearing his story. She never imagined the weight of his suffering. But he told her not to be upset, because meeting a remarkable person like her had changed everything. He then proposed a contract. Whenever the pain surged within Tessin, she would hold his hand. In exchange for this salvation, he would grant her any wish, so long as it did not involve the imperial family. Intrigued, she asked if this was a one-time offer. He replied that each reward would be judged on a case-by-case basis, depending on the request's magnitude. Since they were holding hands now, Alicia requested the aquamarine set from the Lily Palace. It was a simple first offering, but he added one final condition. The imperial family must never know his pain vanishes. Alicia was shocked, demanding to know why. Rykard explained they would immediately force her to become the Grand Duchess. He wanted their deal to last, which is why she could never marry him. Alicia was crushed. The words struck her like a physical blow. Just yesterday, he looked at her with such desperation, clinging to her hand for dear life. Now, he was casting her aside, forbidding marriage. Was he making a fool of her? If she was truly his salvation, his one hope, then he should be begging her to stay, not pushing her away. The rejection cut deep. She wasn't just dismissed, she felt utterly used and then discarded like a broken tool. The worst part was, this wasn't the first time. He only ever sought her out when he was at his absolute breaking point. How utterly ungrateful. But her maid Annie saw it differently. She believed the Duke truly cared for Alicia, that he couldn't survive without her. Alicia immediately rejected the idea. But the other mage agreed, noting how much closer the two had become. A small part of Alicia enjoyed the thought that everyone believed the fearsome Duke was completely smitten with her. Later, she found him in agony once more and rushed to his side. Her touch brought instant relief, soothing the pain wherever she placed her hand. But he confessed that the moment she lets go, the torment surges back. Hearing this, Alicia's heart filled with pity as he pleaded for her to stay. He then gave her the key to the Duchess's chambers, a sacred place none of his 6 previous wives had ever been allowed to enter. But for Alicia, the path was now open. Overwhelmed by the magnificent castle, she expressed her awe at its sheer vastness. Rykard then revealed a secret passage connecting their rooms. From this day forward, he wanted her to use that path, and that path only. 4 days have passed under the second moon, Rua, with 6 agonizing days left before it sets. In the quiet, Rykard gently braids Alicia's hair. He curiously asks why. She explains it's because his curse demands her touch, or else he will suffer terribly. For his sake, Alicia must keep her hair braided since she cannot wash it. After he apologizes, she assures him there's no need to worry. She reminds him the attendants are also tending to her needs. But soon, another thought emerges. She asks how he endured the Rua cycle before she arrived, questioning how the undefeated warrior survived. Her words strike a nerve, and Rykard reaches for his dagger. Alicia moves to stop him, but he insists it's fine. He then cuts his own arm to show his instant healing, leaving her stunned. He explains his method. He replaces the curse's pain with a newer, sharper one. Her own past comes to mind, a living hell. She wonders if he's known such despair. Seeing her silence, he says that while many call him a demon, he's never truly been to hell. A moment later, she lightly slaps him with a wet cloth. He recognizes the look in her eyes, a familiar look of pity. Alicia knows what hell is. A place without sensation, even hunger. She knew she had died, yet her worldly attachments wouldn't let her go. Having suffered so much herself, she can't help but feel for him. She then prepares a meal, asking him to eat with her, even if he feels no hunger. This is her simple request in exchange for letting him hold her hand. She teases that if he refuses, her next demand might be a marriage proposal. Flustered, he immediately gives in. From that night on, they grew closer. As they share these moments, a sharp, unprecedented knock shatters the peace. An urgent summons from the Emperor, unheard of during a Rua cycle. This could only signal one thing: a terrible storm is approaching. Panic erupts within the Tessin household. The Emperor has sent a pregnant woman, carrying his own child, to be placed under Rykard's protection. But this is no simple woman. She is Lady Maud, the daughter of Maris Mayos, Tessin's greatest and most bitter rival. If Rykard accepts this command, the entire balance of power will be shattered. It would favor the Mayos family, and if he refuses, he loses the Emperor's support entirely. Alicia sees the political trap and knows it's time for a new prophecy. A day later, Rykard hurriedly prepares for the capital. To his surprise, Alicia announces she will join him, offering a place in her carriage. He insists he is fine, but when she holds his hand, the truth is clear. The curse's pain surges through him. She immediately pulls him into a hug before they depart. Inside the carriage, the tension is thick. Reichardt can tell Alicia is about to say something vital. She finally breaks the silence, stating that if Lady Maud gives birth in Tessin, he must claim the child as his own firstborn. He has no real choice. If the child is born in the palace, it becomes the direct successor to the throne as the Emperor's firstborn. Worse still, rumors could claim the child is his illegitimate heir because of the royal dot, a mark passed down through the royal bloodline. All of Reichardt's siblings have this mark, but it's an artificial seal, not true proof. The political games in this world are truly a tangled mess. She tells him not to worry, a new prophecy will guide them. But as she starts to speak, the carriage lurches violently. She falls directly into his arms, finishing her prophecy without pause. Reichardt will be blessed with his first princess. Her words fade, and the two realize their closeness. They quickly part, and the tension in the carriage becomes unbearably awkward. Days later, their arrival is met with an eerie silence. Every official is tense, yet Reichardt himself wears an unusual, knowing smile. An attendant escorts Reichardt to the audience chamber, leaving Alicia outside. Within the chamber, officials are locked in heated debate. They argue over the unborn child, pushing the Emperor's patience. Into this fray, Reichardt finally makes his entrance. The Emperor is stunned by Reichardt's bright expression, and even more so by his congratulations. Witnessing this, Reichardt's allies show visible relief. While Reichardt understood Alicia's point on succession, he knew it was vital to first acknowledge the Emperor's potential loss. He announces this sentiment, earning him a surprising nod of respect from the opposition faction. Alicia's words had given Reichardt clarity, revealing the noble's true motives. Hearing this, the Emperor gleefully agrees with his wisdom. As the meeting ends, Reichardt is the first to leave. He leaves behind a confused but pleased Emperor, wondering how an engagement could so drastically change a man. Meanwhile, Alicia is captivated by a portrait of Eleanor, the Duchess of Ischern, known as the Sea Fairy Lady for her beauty and fame. Shortly after, she is summoned by Eleanor herself. The Duchess is truly gorgeous. Upon her arrival, she is greeted formally as Countess Aria, her new title. As Alicia surveys the room, she spots a maid proudly wearing the crest of the Mayos family. She wonders why Eleanor would permit such a provocation. Alicia speaks in the Ishtarian language, calling the situation pitiful. Eleanor catches the cue and asks the maids to leave them. After the doors close, the tension rises. A furious Eleanor sarcastically praises Alicia's fluency. Alicia quickly apologizes, explaining it was necessary to make the maids leave. Still angry, Eleanor retorts that she could have handled it better. Alicia calmly responds that a truly loyal maid would have taken the time to learn her lady's own language. Eleanor struggles to hide her pain, offering a hollow thank you before sending Alicia away. But Alicia corrects her with a devastating truth. Lady Maud is now a royal concubine. The news shatters Eleanor, a fate she always knew was coming for the childless empress. Years of the Emperor's favor meant nothing without an heir. The weight of her failure becomes too much, and Eleanor finally breaks down. She was now just another jewel in his collection of women. Alicia simply offers her a piece of candy to calm her storming heart. Once calm, Eleanor demands to know why she is here. The reason is simple. Alicia already knows the future. She knows the Baroness is destined to have a daughter, while Eleanor will bear a son. But unable to reveal this, she speaks of wounded pride, urging the Empress to fight back. Alicia tells her to show her raw feelings to the Emperor, reminding him of the love that he still holds for her. Perhaps a single display of her tears is all it would take for him to realize his grave mistake. With this advice, Alicia departs. Eleanor can't help but feel joy for Reichardt, who has such a brilliant fiancé. Outside, Alicia wonders if she has meddled too much in destiny's threads. But she hardens her resolve. This was a necessary move, a vital step to lessen the Empress's future suffering. Lost in memories, she mutters that Reichardt must love someone else, only to freeze when she finds him standing right behind her. After a tense escape from that conversation, Alicia breathes a sigh of relief, thankful that Reichardt is so hopelessly clueless. He then asks why she visited Eleanor but not the new Baroness, pointing out how strange her actions must seem. Alicia coldly replies that she has no interest in winning that woman's favor. In that moment, Reichardt understands. She knows how this all ends. He gently drapes his coat over her shoulders, but from the shadows, unseen eyes burn with fury, overhearing their every word. 1 week later, the Emperor summons Reichardt, his questions circling around his complicated bond with Alicia. After thanking him for his counsel, the Emperor notes Alicia's strange behavior, the sweets and the excessive time spent comforting the fallen Empress. And it wasn't just her. The famously cold and distant Duke Rykart had also undergone a suspicious change of heart. The Emperor refuses to believe it's for love alone. With both of them making moves to help the Empress, he senses a deeper scheme is at play. He puts Rykart to the test, asking which concubine Elysia will visit first. Rykart feigns ignorance, but he's sure it won't be the Baroness. Meanwhile, Judith reports that vicious rumors about Elysia are spreading through the capital. Elysia is stunned. She had hoped for a better welcome, but it seems her enemies are already on the move. Still, Elysia scoffs at the baseless lies. But Judith warns her that the malicious whispers are not dying down. Alicia demands to know who is behind the slander. Judith gives her a name, Lady Viviana Mano. Alicia's orders are swift and cold. Investigate Viviana and her ties to the Grand Duke, and deliver a message a flower meant only for the dead. Lady Mano receives the gift, her fury rising. She sees it as a clear declaration of war, and she has no intention of backing down. As the weeks pass, Elysia learns much from Viviana's relentless attacks on her reputation. She learns to ignore the whispers and find strength in solitude. Then, one day, she hears the sound of weeping in the hall. It is Lady Viviana, putting on a dramatic performance for a captive audience. In that moment, Alicia faces a critical choice. Should she stand up for herself, or let her reputation be trampled into dust? Just as she decides to be civil, she hears the final lie. They are claiming she slapped Viviana. Blazing rage builds within her. In her past life, such insolence would have earned a swift death. But in this world, she must be careful. Even so, a line has been crossed. She approaches her rival and, with a sharp crack, makes the rumor true. She strikes Viviana in front of everyone. A shocking, audacious move, but one the scheming lady thoroughly deserved. As if summoned by the drama, the Emperor himself arrives. Soon, both Alicia and Viviana are kneeling before the throne. Viviana's father is present, and soon Alicia's father rushes in with a panting Rykart. He frantically asks her if she really hit someone, or murdered them. When she says no, he's relieved, muttering that if she had, there wouldn't be a body left to find. His words only fuel her anger. The Emperor's voice cuts through the tension, ordering them all to be seated. Elysia knows the odds are completely stacked against her. As the hearing begins, she braces for the battle of her life. And that's where the story leaves off. What do you think will happen? Be sure to like the video and comment if you want to see the next part. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications for updates. See you in the next one.